but he didn't answer. So yeah, okay. So but
Hello, my name is Shingo Miyamoto. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
yes, I can
They
hear you.
can? Okay, take it. Okay, so my name is Shingo Miyamoto. I'm minister at the Japanese embassy in Delhi. Um, and I'm going to talk about what I've been doing with food since I came to India. This is Babita. She's a staff at the embassy, and this is something that we've been doing together. So she's here with me to make the presentation. So if you allow me, can I share my presentation now? Okay. So thank you very much. Please give me like 10 minutes or so. So this presentation is entitled The Quest for the Japanese Veg Food for Indians. And I think it's an interesting topic. It's a topic that I've been interested in ever since I came to India 2.5 years ago. And as I've written here, after I came to India, I noticed that there are pure vegetarians in India who, even if they wanted to try Japanese food, they can't really try it because most Japanese food use non-veg ingredients. So after coming here, I started to cook typical, popular Japanese dishes, but using something else to substitute for meat and fish, so that I could have with the dream of someday in the future having my friends try them. So these are some examples of things that I was cooking at the time. On the left-hand side, this is veg tantan men. Tantan men is a very popular, Japanized version of a Chinese dish, I think. It's a noodle soup that normally uses pork, ground pork, and pork broth with a lot of sesame. And I substituted the pork with crumbles of paneer, which I soaked in miso to give it some flavor. And I made broth from kombu, which is kelp. But I had to add some ghee or butter to give it some, richness because kombu kelp soup is, really it doesn't have the richness that the fat, from the meat gives to the original soup. The bottom left-hand one is veg gyoza. This is more similar to what you see around the places, but I did also use ground paneer to substitute for the meat. So this is the kind of thing that I was doing in the beginning. Now, then came the corona pandemic. And in the beginning of 2020, when the pandemic hit, India went into a strict lockdown. And I think for some reason, the meat shops were, all closed and they were closed for a long time. So I could not buy any meat anymore. I couldn't go out of my house. My outings were restricted to, visits to the local vegetable stores and nothing else. So the issue was that I was basically cooking Japanese food at the time, and Japanese food focuses more on, well, I wouldn't say more on the meat, but less on the vegetables compared to Indian cooking. And if you take out the meat or the fish from Japanese cooking and rely only on vegetables, then it doesn't become a balanced diet, unfortunately. So you're taking some essential component, most of the protein source, out of the cooking. And so I was sure that if I kept just eating vegetables with the Japanese menu, I would soon become malnourished. So I thought about it and I decided that I was going to have to shift to an Indian diet because vegetarians in India have been living just based on vegetables for thousands of years. So if I started eating what they were eating, then I was sure that I would be able to survive. So this is the thing, these are the sorts of things I started cooking with the help of Babita and her mom. more from her mom than Babita herself, because they were sending me recipes of Indian cooking to help me, and I started cooking things like this. So top left is pindi dish. Pindi is called okura in Japanese. We eat it here in India as well. The one on the right is kundru. Kundru is like it's like a small uri, um, a gourd, but it's very small and it's very nice textured. And then the one on the left in the middle is sarso kasag. It's a dish made of spinach and also mustard leaves. It's very delicious and a specialty in the winter in Delhi. The one on the left is chana chat. It's one of my favorite things, and it is the dish that supported me throughout most of the lockdown. One on right is dal. So now, after months and months of living by eating, cooking myself and eating food like this, I noticed a few things about vegetarianism in India. So one thing is that veg food in Japan, like I was doing in the beginning, tends to use vegetables as a substitute for meat or fish. So as long as you're trying to substitute something that is supposed to be there by something else, no matter how hard you try, I felt that it is not going to be the real thing. Now, in contrast to this, Indian veg food is meant to be made with only vegetables. It is not a substitute for meat, but it's a perfectly tasty dish in itself. So, after I was aware of this, I felt like the original quest for trying to substitute the meat in the Japanese cooking with vegetables was kind of wrong. And I thought that I should have searched for Japanese dishes that are originally meant to be made by using vegetables only, so that um, you're not recreating something that is meant to be made with meat by using vegetables, but you're making something that is originally meant to be veg from the beginning. So I also noticed some striking similarities between Indian cooking and Japanese cooking. And I thought they were really interesting because people normally think that they're very different. This is one example. On the right hand side is simple dal. It's just, cooked dal, beans, split beans, with some salt and turmeric. But on the right hand side, this is simple rice porridge, shirogayu, and both are, of course, made from different things. The one in Japan is rice. One in India is, lentils. Um, but they're kind of similar in that they're really cooked well until they're half liquefied, and um, they're both served to people when they have an upset stomach. So I thought it was really similar and interesting. The second one, this is even more interesting to me. So these are both dishes made from radish and radish leaves, and the one on the right hand side is a dish that Babita brought to work for lunch, and she gave some to me. And when I tasted it, I thought this was almost Japanese, and I immediately wanted to put this on top of a bowl of rice and eat it with the rice, like Japanese people normally do. And it inspired me to make the one on the left-hand side. This is daikon and daikon leaves cooked with some fried tofu, flavored with miso, um, pan fried, I think. Um, well, anyway, so I gave this one to Babita, and she took it home and served it to her family members. And what did your brother say about it?
It was kind of similar with what we cook at our home. The exceptional thing or the additional thing was tofu, but the taste was quite similar to what
Hmm.
we eat.
Hmm. So this is what I've been doing, and ever since, like I said, I started to look for Japanese dishes that are made originally with vegetables only. So I made them, and then I asked Babita to try them, and she rated them with the red, yellow, and green color rating. Red means it's yucky. She never wants to eat it again. Yellow means it's okay. Um, okay to maybe some are borderline good, but not, she wasn't really enthusiastic about it. And then green is really good, and I think she would want to eat it a number of times. So I will show you some of the things that I made and tried with Babita like this. So these are all rice dishes. On the left-hand side is osekihan. It's a very famous Japanese dish, rice cooked with red beans. This was yellow. And then second one from left is natto rice. Natto is fermented soybeans. It's really sticky and slimy. Japanese people like it. It's just, simply putting soy sauce over natto and then mixing it well so that it becomes slimy, and then you put it on the rice and eat it. This was yucky for Babita. She didn't like it. And then natto fried rice. This is fried rice made with natto as its ingredient. And I chopped up onions and garlic, and I put some cumin seeds inside, and also maybe some achar. I thought it would be a nice combination. And then I stir fried it, and then soy sauce. Yes, soy sauce. And then when Babita tried this one, she actually liked it, and I think she had seconds and ate up the whole thing over time. So I'm interested in knowing why, she likes the the cooked natto dish, but not the raw natto dish. And then this is a Chinese style porridge, rice porridge with what do you call it? Using kelp broth and also spring onions and coriander leaves and red chili and sesame oil. I think she didn't like the sesame oil very much, but I think this got a yellow. So I'm going to ask Babita to talk about why she was okay, or she liked even the cooked natto, but not the raw ones.
Uh, Thank you everyone for this webinar or symposium and giving me this opportunity to talk about the food I have tried by myself and gave my honest opinion about each dish I have tasted until now that Miyamoto Koshi has made for me to try. So the first one, this is rice with red beans. It was okay to me as I think it was salty, not sweet. So its appearance to an Indian will look like that it is sweet, but when I tasted it, it was salty. It was kind of okay to me. Like Miyamoto Koshi said that I will not be very enthusiastic about it to eat it again, but if it is served to me, I'll be happy to eat it. I will not make efforts, or I will not crave for it that much. So it was okay to me. I think the rice and this combination of rice and red beans was good enough for me to try, for an Indian to try, I think. So I am talking about on the basis of an Indian tongue and taste. So for natto, it was not good. It was very bad to me. I think that slimy texture gave me hard time to accept it on my tongue. So normally Indians add a lot of amount of side dish into the rice. We don't eat rice as in plain rice. We add something to it, and then rice absorb the taste of that side dish. Then we have that habit to eat rice. So when I ate natto with simple plain rice, that slimy taste of natto was not good. So I gave red mark to it. But when Miyamoto Koshi added combined this natto with rice and fried it along with soya sauce. I think as an Indian, I can, on behalf of an Indian population, I can say that we like the taste of burnt soya sauce, because the soya sauce we use in India, its taste and smell is very different what soya sauce is being used in Japan. I think both are soya sauce, but the consistency or intensity is quite different between both the countries. So when Japanese soya sauce is being burnt during the process of cooking, then it makes a very good combination for an Indian tongue to try. So that's how I think I gave green tag to natto fried rice, and it was very good. Like Miyamoto Koshi tried to add cumin seeds to it, like we Indian do. So even if he didn't add cumin seeds to it, I think that combination of natto, uh, burnt soya sauce, onion, I can even exclude garlic, then it would have been great to eat. And coming to next, Chinese style rice porridge with fried tofu. Like he said that I didn't like the sesame oil because we don't have habit to eat raw oil. So I think that made a little bit difference. Otherwise, it was okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, it's interesting that she did not like the sesame oil because it's the burnt kind of aroma of the sesame oil, which is used in Chinese cooking and also in Japanese cooking a lot, but not in Indian cooking. Sesame oil in India does not have that aroma, so maybe that was the reason. Anyway, going to the next one. So this is all sorts of onigiri. Onigiri is like rice balls. One on the top left, I tried making onigiri with achar. I thought achar is very interesting to Japanese people as well. And I think first time I made umeboshi onigiri and gave it to Babita, she said, "Oh, this is like achar." So I tried to make onigiri with achar as well. And then top right is grilled onigiri using soya sauce, um, called yaki onigiri in Japanese. Very common thing in Japan. And then bottom left is I also grilled this one. The picture is was taken in the process of the grilling, so it doesn't look charred yet, but I did grill it. It was using cucumbers, pickled cucumbers. And then the one in the middle is just the classic umeboshi onigiri wrapped in seaweed. And then the one on the bottom right was sushi flavored onigiri with shiitake mushroom that I cooked in soy sauce and mirin. So interestingly, but in general, I think onigiri is well accepted by Babita, as you can see on the many green marks that I got for these. But the one with mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, I don't think worked very well. So maybe I'm just gonna ask for her to comment on these.
Uh, Again, thank you. So, we are getting my name every time that Babita has tried it, and I have my own opinion over all these dishes. But when I give my comments, I am representing a good a large amount of Indian people because I know what other peoples around me like to eat, even non-vegetarians. So yes, different people can have their different taste and taste priorities or choices, but still, I am representing a good number of people in India that wants to eat Japanese food. So for onigiri is on my top list, and fried natto as well, fried natto rice as well. So grilled onigiri is the best for me. Like I said, that I like the burnt taste of soya sauce along with rice. So that was my priority. That I crave for grilled onigiri sometimes. That I really want to eat it when I want to eat something. So so the one Miyamoto Koshi mixed it with pickle, I think. This is what top
Achar.
right onigiri with achar. Okay, so onigiri with achar is like we have this habit to eat rice or roti or paratha with achar. So it gave a quite good sense or familiar sense of eating achar, that is pickle with rice. So it was not very different or very unique to me. So it was very common to me because we have habit to eat it. And then uh,
Cucumber.
cucumber and rice. It was also good. Uh,
You say the same like this. Hmm.
so it was good to me. Uh, kind of, I think cucumber, pickled up cucumber gave a good sense of taste to rice. And like I said in my previous comments, that Indians like to eat rice with an addition of side dish. So achar can add that taste to the rice. So that's why I liked it similarly, like I like grilled onigiri. And this nori and general onigiri wrapped in nori is also very good. So initially I didn't like the smell and taste of nori because it is a seaweed, and we don't have that practice in India to eat seaweed that much. So when I tried it for the first time, and being vegetarian, I was unaware of that smell of sea. So when I even tried to or brought this onigiri near my mouth, so I had that smell, and it was not good smelling to me because I didn't eat something that smells like sea. But when I tried it, and later on I started to develop a good taste for it. I think I have taste buds for onigiri. So those who try it for the first time, I think they will have difficulty to eat it, but later on they will love it. And for shiitake mushroom onigiri, again, shiitake mushroom, the mushroom we use in India is general mushroom we use. We don't use many types of mushrooms in India. If I exclude the elite class or a particular section, then most of the Indians use general mushroom. So that's why, because of its unfamiliarity with our tongue, I didn't like it initially. But if I can try it over and over again, I think I can develop a good taste for it. Thank you.
Thanks, Babita. Okay, so I think she's asking me to cook the shiitake mushroom again for her. But let me move on. So this is my second to the last slide that I have. The picture on the left is soba noodles and also somen noodles. It is eaten basically boiled noodles, and we dip it in a sauce made from soy sauce and also kelp broth and some mirin. And I have chopped up seaweed and also spring onions and wasabi as condiments. The right hand side is ohagi. So I made the anko, the red bean paste from red beans by boiling them for a long time, and I made the paste. It's a sweet paste with sugar, a lot of sugar in it, and inside there's a ball of glutinous rice, which is not flavored. It's just a ball of rice, but all the sweetness comes from the red bean paste outside. So interestingly, Babita did not like the noodles at all. I still remember the face expression on the face she had when she tried it. Ohagi, I think, went well. She took some home and froze some and just kept eating it over the days. So can you comment on these, Babita, please?
Uh, Thank you again. So for this soba and somen noodles, I think uh, addition of raw soya sauce and mirin made me difficult to eat it. I normally we don't like uh, raw soya sauce or raw mirin mixture of anything like wasabi, soya sauce, or mirin. So I think I was asked to dip these noodles into the soya sauce into this liquid mixture and then to eat it. So I couldn't eat that. It was very hard to eat because I could smell raw soya sauce and mirin, and the taste of it was very much hard to handle it. So that's why I gave red list to it. And then for ohagi, sweets are okay to Indians, I think. So we are very much fond of sweets, even if we don't like sweet that much. But on every occasion, good occasion, we will have sweet in our families, in our home. So we have so many varieties of sweet dishes. So you can even go to a sweet shop and count innumerable number of sweet dishes in that shop. So I think anything sweet which is present in Japan, which is vegetarian, all the vegetarian people can try. So commenting upon all these dishes, I just want to say that we were uh, what exploring all these things to increase the incorporation of Japanese food into Indian society, so that all the people in India can walk into the Japanese store and without thinking that, oh, it is a non-vegetarian, it will have non-vegetarian dishes, or it will not have a space for vegetarians. So any person, those any person who loves Japan, who admires Japan, can walk into the store and enjoy the Japanese dishes, irrespective of the person is vegetarian or non-vegetarian, because there are so much similarity in between India and Japan, in our languages, in our culture, and also like
Doraemon?
Shinchan and Doraemon. So children love these cartoon characters, so they would be happy to uh, taste Japanese food if we have a small inclination towards small combination of Indian and Japanese dishes. Then I think food will also be a very good effect. We will have a very good effect on Indian tongue. Thank you.
Yes. So she said it, right. I think, I mean, this is what we've been trying to do for, I guess, about 2 years now. Um, we want to find, I guess we can say, commonalities or overlap, in the likings of food between Japanese and Indian people. And I think that a lot of the Japanese restaurants that are here in India now are tailored towards Japanese expats. Those Japanese people who are living in Delhi or, in its suburbs. And, some restaurants like Guppy, which is, I think, was originally run by Vikramji, who was supposed to be here. You see many Indian guests as well. But I think in the long run, we have to try to come up with a way where Japanese food becomes something that is for everyone in India, not just the Japanese expats. So this is, what I mean, in our own small way, why we've been trying to do this thing. And my request or our message is, please, because you are all involved in the food industry and you're professionals, we are amateurs here. I think with your help, we will be able to find Japanese dishes that vegetarian Indians will truly be able to enjoy. So I invite you to join us in this endeavor, and also to make comments if you feel like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miyuki.
Hi, everybody. This is Nobu. I've been living in India since '98, since I got married with the Punjabi family. And yeah, last end of the first pandemic lockdown in Delhi, for 20 years I was in Delhi in Gurgaon. But then since after lockdown became a little slower and relaxed, then we decided to come step to the Uttarakhand near Jim Corbett National Park. So then we were having the house since 10 years, so we decided to open the guest house. So, and luckily that's because a lot of Indian people and Japanese expats or other foreign countries expats love to spend time on nature. So we have a lot of continuously good guests over here. And yeah, that's it. It was very interesting about the Miyamoto-san's experiment of the food. So similarly, that I've been doing since 23 years, same kind of, the exploring between the food, Japanese and Indian for the lot of people. So, and it was like Miyamoto-san's A was almost like that one I have. So it was very, very, very interesting. And I have few tips that, what kind of vegetarian cuisine that what Indian people prefer. So it's been because I've been living among the old Indian culture, and my family is they're from Punjab. Not really narrow-minded Punjab, so they're more broad-minded Punjabi people. So they also like to experiment of the taste of Japanese food, and also my parents-in-law are vegetarian. So I used to make a lot of vegetarian Japanese, and also we have a lot of guests who has restriction in the food. So I've been making for our guests the gluten-free Japanese Japanese food, or vegetarian Japanese food, or the lactose allergy for the people. So we've been making a lot of things. So I think it's interesting to discuss about this. What Japanese cuisine will be welcome to the Indian people. Yeah.
さん、こんにちは。秋葉原で、飲食店、精進料理の店をやってる藤井と言います。よろしくお願いします。うちは精進料理というベジタリアンの、料理を出すお店をやってるんですけれども、和食でベジタリアンというお店でやっています。で、今お話にあった家庭料理でっていうので私今回お声がかかったんですけれども、うちの店はカジュアルな精進料理ということで、割といろいろいろんなメニューを出しています。で、家庭料理っていうとなかなかどんなものかってされるんですけど、なかなかやっぱ先ほどもあるようにかつおだしとかおだしを使ってるものとか動物性のものをたくさん使ってるっていう割と日本はイメージ和食は多いんですけど、うちの精進料理は昆布とか椎茸を使ってそれで料理を作っておだしを使ってしています。で、日本だといろんな美味しい調味料がたくさんあるのでそれを使ってって出してるレストランなんですね。で、今までいろんな国で料理教室を精進料理和食のそのベジタリアンの精進料理の料理教室をやってきてるんですけど、いろんな国で日本の味をそのまま持っていくというのは難しいので、その国の材料でできる和食のベジタリアンっていうのでいろいろやっています。で、そんなお店なのでうちは海外からのお客さんもたくさん来られていて、一番ね多いのがうちはインドのお客さんすごく多いんですよ。で、インドのお客さんでもうちは秋葉原の隣の町っていうのが御徒町って言ってインドの人たちがたくさん住んでる町っていうこともあって、でインドではインドの方々がたくさん来てくれます。で、メニューの中にうちはインドの人たちが好きかなと思ってスパイスで炒めたようなメニューも出しています。和食ではあんまりスパイスを使うことはありません。で、うちの店でいつも出しているのがスパイスと日本の調味料を合わせた炒め物だったり煮物っていうのを一品必ずメニューで作るんですね。で、日本のお客さんも大好きだし、インドも他の国のお客さんも大好きな料理です。で、結構私は子どもの頃からインドの人が割と近くにいたので、そのインドの人の家庭料理って食べさせてもらってたんですけど、その方々も日本の調味料とインドのスパイスを上手に組み合わせた家庭料理というのを私によく食べさせてくれてたので、その味がルーツになっています。で、ちょっとここで写真撮ったのを渡辺さんにさっき写真をちょっと1枚送ったんですけど、うちのインド炒めっていうスパイスの使った写真を、料理の写真を1個送ってます。で、この、キャベツとひよこ豆で作ったインド炒めなんですけど、スパイスとあとは あとお醤油とみりんで一緒に炒めた。日本でいうところのきんぴらをスパイスで作るようなものですね。そうするとね、海外のお客さんも皆さん大好きで、特にこうインドのお客さんとかもやっぱ多いので、これ出すともうみんなもう笑顔でニコニコ食べてくださる、そんなメニューです。和食とスパイスって割とこう真反対にあるようなものなんですけど、でこれはどの国の人たちもみんな大好きな味なので、お店のスタッフにもみんなに教えて、必ず1日1品こういうの作ってねってしてます。季節折り替えて野菜も変えてっていう。で和食の良さも知ってほしいし、あとはベジとノンベジの人たちが一緒に食べれるメニューっていうのをうちは心がけているので、こういうメニューを出すととても喜ばれます。なんかこういうふうにして私のお店ではベジとノンベジの人が、世界中のベジとノンベジの人たちが一緒に食卓を囲めるようなメニュー作りっていうことにしていて、ちゃんとした和食の人たちからすると怒られちゃうかもしれないんですけれども、それよりもやはりみんながニコニコご飯を食べて食卓が囲めてっていうことを楽しんでもらえるようなお店というふうにしてますね。
私の友人のインド人の人はやっぱり日本に行くと食べるものがないので、精進料理をすごく探していくんですけど、なかなか小牧さんのところ今度から紹介します。
ありがとうございます。ぜひお待ちしてます。
今までは本当にお寺とか禅寺とかの精進料理をわざわざ探してすごい高いお金を出して食べに行く人、インド人の方が多かったので、そういうレストランが増えるといいですね。
いやそうですね。でも多分ね、なかなか増えるっていうのはすごく難しくてなとは思うんですけど、でも特にインドの人たちはベジタリアンでも動物のものを食べないっていうだけじゃなくて、他にも宗教上で玉ねぎだったりとか、ネギニラニンニク食べない人もいたりとか、いろんなさまざまな方もいらっしゃるので、確かにそういうので対応すると、精進料理ってそもそも動物性も使わないし、玉ねぎとかネギニラニンニクも使わないので、そうジャイナ教の人たちとかはよく来てくれますね。結構海外でいろいろ行ったりするときに、やっぱり現地の方々にでも日本のいいもの、おいしいのを知ってもらいたいということもあって、いろんな食材、現地の食材を使って日本のものを、でもなかなか日本のものを現地で買うと高かったり、せっかく料理教室に来てもらっても再現できないということが多いんですけれども、今は日本の調味料でもいいものが割とインドで手に入ることが多いので、特に秋葉原とかですとサブカルチャーって言ってアニメだったりとかゲームとか漫画だったりとかでいろいろ食べ物のシーンが出るのが、そのインドの若いお客さんたちが皆さんこういう漫画のこういうものが食べてみたいんだ、これを再現したいんだっていうことをよく今コロナでなかなか来れないですけど、海外から来る若いインドのベジタリアンの方々は皆さん私にそういう話を聞いてくるんです。どうしたらこのアニメに出てくるラーメンが作れるのかだったりそういう意味で今和食っていうとかしこまったものが多いイメージなんですが、今の若い人たちがしてくれる興味を持ってくれる和食はアニメとか漫画とかのそのゲームとかのそういうカルチャーから来るものなので、すごく割とカジュアルなものが多いので、私もいろいろどうしたら作れるか、だから日本の調味料こういうものを買っていくと作れるようだったり、そんなお話して、日本のものと日本の調味料で向こう現地に帰っても作れるよっていうことを教えてあげたりしてますね。
To make something from the animation. Yeah. Actually, as Victor mentioned earlier, so all the children love the Doraemon, right? So, and my niece was always requesting me to make a Dora cake. So dora cake in Japan, we call it a dorayaki. So it's basically a pancake that sandwich the anko, that the black bean sweet paste, sandwich with the pancake. So it's very easy for, we don't use the egg for the pancake. So that we can easily ingredient available here in India. So I've been making the dora cake all the time for children.
That was in the questions and answers chat. But may I speak?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, this is really interesting, and I think if I have a chance to go back to Japan, I have to go to Fuji-san's restaurant in Akihabara, definitely. Um, I felt like a lot of the things that I have been trying as an amateur was kind of similar to what you are offering in your restaurant, of course, in a much better way, I'm sure. But you know, I do similar things. Like I saw, I use kelp or mushrooms to or combination to make the dashi, and also usage of cumin seeds, and these things are very. It gives you like this slight um, familiarity with the taste for people in India, and it tastes good for Japanese people as well. So it was really interesting to hear those things. Um, I, I don't know, but I think I just keep doing this because this has become like a hobby to me. But my dream is that you can maybe come, you know, open a store in India, um, and you know, start promulgating this kind of cooking to people here as well. Thank you.
A lot of Indian people who are interested in Japanese food, it's basically they're very health conscious also. So, and I think if you make a vegetarian Japanese dish, they love to visit, I'm very sure. And also, I noticed that a lot of vegetarian Indian people who enthusiastically want to try Japanese food, they love the Japanese pickle. That I usually make that asazuke. Asazuke is basically only salt and vegetable, and just a little bit leave it for light fermentation. So that usually that Japanese pickle is not like Indian or greasy or spicy or salty pickle. So that they call it the Japanese pickle is a salad because it looks like a salad. It's fresh and crunchy. So and also that they love the nukazuke. Nuka bed is
Really?
the paste of the rice husk. So when you polish the rice, so it already has the rice husk already has the bacteria of the lacto fermentation. So, and it's very good for the digest for the food because it directly that the lacto fermenting bacteria directly goes to the intestine. So that makes the people healthy. So, and also fermenting stuff is really good for your skin, digestive system, or any system of the body. So I think, yeah, nukazuke also that Indian people call it salad. So, but it's because of the fermentation, it's far better than normal salad. So that's what I feel.
うちにやっぱ来られる海外からのそのインドからのお客様からよく言われる質問が、その日本料理は何が健康にいいんだっていうことをやっぱり聞かれることが多いです。日本の和食のいいイメージってすごくでありがたいのがやっぱり健康にいいっていうのが、それは世界中いろんな人たちが和食は健康にいいというイメージを持ってくださる方が多くて、今ノブさんがおっしゃっておられたような発酵食品っていうのも 発酵っていう言葉でも世界中一人歩きしてるぐらいで、やっぱり健康っていう意識が皆さん高い。すごくそれは思います。で、インドで、特にうちの店に来られる少し健康意識が高いインドのお客様は、ベジタリアンだからうちの店に来るっていう方も多いんですけど、その和食のその正直ベジタリアンの和食っていうのは健康にとてもいいんじゃないかっていうことで来てくださるんですが、やっぱりお野菜をしっかりバランスよくとって日本の発酵醸造調味料をしっかり食べるということがなんとか心がけて自分も健康でいたいっていうふうに思っておられる方の質問をよく聞きます。なんか本当に日本の料理は健康って思っていただいてすごく嬉しいなと思いますし、で特にやっぱり日本の調味料だったりとか海外でももっと使ってもらえるといいなっていうふうに思っていたり。
I also want to comment here because a lot of Japanese people think that Indian cooking uses a lot of oil. And they generalize everything and call everything curry, which is not. And but I know basically I cook from the recipe that Babita's mother gives me. And from cooking these things, I know that, oil is not really used in cooking. It's more like steaming or pan-fried vegetables. And one big difference, I think, is that in Indian cooking, the quantity of vegetables that you have to use is much bigger than Japanese cooking. So, for example, I showed you a picture of the sarsoka sag, the spinach dish, the greenish, paste-like thing. It's really creamy and very delicious. That I cooked for myself that time, so I had enough to have it for maybe 3 days or so, but I used 1 kilogram of leaves, not just leaves, but spinach, mustard leaves, also daikon, and I think onions. I think these were the main ingredients, but I used 1.5 kilograms of vegetables that was basically condensed into, this much dish. So, and also the okra dish, the bhindi dish, I normally use about half kilogram or maybe even 1 kilogram of okra to make this. I tried to make this when I was back in Japan about a year and a half ago, and I went to the supermarket to buy some okras. And in Japan, they have like 5-6 pieces of okra in a small bag, which is sold for like 200 yen or something. So I thought if I have to have 1 kilogram of okra to make something, and I have to buy like, I don't know, 20 packets of these, how much money is that going to cost? So I think there's some impracticalities involved here. If you want to cook something like in India, using some, materials in Japan, I'm wondering how people living in Japan, Indian people living in Japan are managing. So there are certain differences in how we cook, and certain stereotypes too that people have. I think Indian cooking is very healthy, but conversely, when people in Japan think that Indian cooking uses a lot of spice and a lot of oil, this is also a stereotype in my view.
Can I talk? Actually, basically, that's the life work I could say. I've been doing this because a lot of foreigners, not only Japanese, a lot of foreigners. So Indian food means naan, butter chicken, all this very oily, spicy, all these things. But actually, real Indian food is home cooked food, which you won't get anywhere in restaurants. So the home cooked food is supposed to be cooked for somebody, the mother or father or whoever the household staff have to cook for somebody, thinking about somebody for the health or some taste, or that every time that you make for somebody. So, and restaurant Indian food is not made for somebody. It's like various people who you don't know. So that's the difference. And also always when you make home food, so, and weather and the body, what do you call that? Body condition, or like either healthy right now or sickness, or a little bit maybe you have cold, so you maybe that the person who is cooking is adding some little extra spices or minus less spices. So that's how the Indian food is supposed to be. So, and similarly, Japanese also, like we really as a Japanese culture, the home cooked food is really appreciated, not only from the restaurant. Of course, that like the sushi chef presented, that beautiful sushi is there. So that will be normally you eat at home, at restaurant. So I think that similarity between the Indian food and the Japanese food, it's not by really taste, but I think comprehension and the atmosphere and the attitude towards the food you make. So that's what I feel. So.
I agree completely about the home cooking part. Those are very nice comments. Thank you so much.
And also, can I say? There's another thing that we call in Japanese cuisine, we call it ichiju issai. So ichiju issai means for one liquidy dish and one dry fish with a vegetable. So in many years, the Japanese been eating ichiju issai. So, and one dish, there's a one main staple there, and one soup there, one vegetable there. So that's the basic concept of the Japanese home cooking. And very similarly to Indian cuisine also, because Indian cuisine also has one staple, like either rice or roti, and plus the dal, which is liquid, or maybe chutney. So, and one stir-fried vegetable, spiced stir-fried vegetable. So that's very well balanced for day-to-day diet. So that's similarity I feel.
So Nobu-san, you are currently living in Uttarakhand.
Yes.
Yes? And Fuji-san is in Tokyo.
はい、東京です。
Okay. Maybe we can gather in Delhi sometime and and cook together or something. This will be a fun thing. We can do it as an event.
It's wonderful.
Sure, I'm sure.
いいです、行きたいです、行きたいです。
ぜひいらしてください。
うちにも泊まり来てください。
そうだ。ノブさんのところに集まってみんなでご飯作ったら楽しいかもしれませんね。Yes。
いや、いいですね、楽しそうですね。
ありがとうございました、本当に。
うちのも精進料理をいろいろ私も作りたいと思います。
楽しみにしております。
Let's enjoy your cooking in your life. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Bye. Thanks everyone for participating. That was good, no?